Has the clerk received any additional written comments?
No, not by 4:30 today.
I now declare this public hearing closed. And what happens after this?
They accept and they vote to accept them and send them to the state
Right.
process.
Okay. So
Is there a motion?
is there a motion to?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you. For a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Next item on the agenda is, we should go to public comments. How about that? Are there any people from the public? Supposed to do it at 7 o'clock, Anna, sorry.
That's okay. I just did a couple of quick copies so you can see what I'm
Be
talking
careful,
about.
there's
I
wires.
see them, please. I just made a couple copies.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, look at that.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Anna Dickerson, 425 Amity Road. I'm here on behalf of Woodbridge Rotary Club. Woodbridge Rotary Club built a pavilion on off Center Road behind the Hitchcock Playground and the baseball field. And I'm ready to write my second article on the best kept secret in Woodbridge, because that is the second best kept secret. If you missed the first one, I'm sorry. What Rotary Club would like to do is to put a sign up in front of the area. We checked with Chris Sullivan, and she said it did not need to go for zoning or a plan. Sorry, I'm out of breath. And we also checked with Warren Connors about the placement, because we wanted to make sure that we were not on state right away, because all kinds of permits and insurance and everything else would need to be done there. Mike Zekas sketched out the sign, which I gave you a copy of. We got permission from the Board of Selectmen a while ago to rename the pavilion the Rotary Stoddard Memorial Pavilions, and that's what we named. There probably will be an arrow pointing to the right. This will be positioned within the semicircle with under the pine trees, and it will be visible as you're coming from the center of Woodbridge down towards the Racebrook section, as you're going down towards Racebrook Road. Just that side. It's not going to be a double side sign. And hopefully when people see it, they'll call and say, what is this pavilion? And then it'll get more use. So this is what we plan on doing. It will be white. The vertical post will be the rotary blue, and the caps will be the rotary yellow. That's the only indication of we're not putting the rotary emblem on it. That's a little bit complicated to do, so we're not going to be doing that. I'm not sure.
I just have one question.
Sure.
I know on the back side there was an issue with the structure. It was broken. It was.
You mean the pavilion itself has been repaired?
That's been fixed.
Yes, all
Okay.
ready to go.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I just wouldn't want to call attention to it if it wasn't fixed.
Oh yes, no, that's why I've waited so long to get this going, so we're
No, I
waiting
think it's
for
a great idea.
repair.
Do we need a motion to do that?
Jerry, this is not on the agenda. is
No,
it?
it's
So we
not.
have to add it to the
Yeah, a
agenda.
vote to add it to the agenda.
First we
So
need to vote to
That
make
way
a
you can
motion
take
to
action.
add it to the agenda.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Okay.
discussion.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's now
Okay.
added to the agenda.
So I would make a motion to accept the sign. Is that right?
As described,
As described on the
As described on the handout.
on this handout, and you talked to Chris Sullivan, and she said there is no
we
planning.
don't have to go to
and zoning.
planning and zoning, because usually you do with signs.
I had a question about, she didn't say why? I mean, I
I think it's, what is the dimensions of the sign?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. It looks
30
like
by
it's
42.
30 by 42, so it's
Right.
not a big sign.
Small
No, it's
sign.
not.
And I don't know off the
So-
top of my head what the TPZ.
So it probably fits within the
So
sign
I
ordinance.
would suggest that you vote on it subject to Chris Sullivan confirming to town council that it is okay with
Okay,
that.
I'd modify my motion to that effect.
That's great. And there was a second or not?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I didn't hear a second.
Okay.
Oh, I'll second it.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on
have
this?
another question. Is there any lighting planned for
No,
this?
no.
Okay. And a third question about, in terms of maintenance, is Rotary going to keep the sign
It's just a mowed area right now, just grass. I know when I met with Warren, he suggested maybe put a few flowers around it and bring more attention to it, and that we could do, and Rotary would take care of the flowers if that's.
Okay, and repainting if and when that's
They
necessary?
would take care of that.
Okay, I'm just,
Sure. It's the base, the main section of it is that weatherproof plastic or whatever it is that he
AZAC
puts in.
is the brand name.
Okay, I don't think he put it in here.
Yeah, and there may be other brands, but it's
Right.
that
That's what
wood
he uses.
substitute. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the motion. All in favor?
I,
That's it, unanimous.
Okay, I'll check with Chris tomorrow, bring it in and get it.
And just have her send something to Jerry.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you,
thanks,
Anna.
Thanks for waiting.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry it took so long.
Yeah,
Okay.
till the
Public comment.
We did.
Yeah.
Are there any other public comments?
you might call the clients who are.
That's what we're gonna do right now. Yep, the clients are here. I'm sorry. We were ready way back when. We went early and then, come on up, absolutely. And just state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Take another chair.
Grab a
Bring
chair.
another chair.
Take
Just
a
bring it up.
chair. There you go.
We're so formal.
Barry Klein,
14, Nancy Klein, 14 Woodside Drive, Woodbridge. So, we are back because, well, first of all, I wanted to tell you that we were able to get $1 million insurance policy for the hour of the wedding. And we did get the letter signed from Keith Arnold. And we will have the chairs removed, and we will also, there's going to be no alcohol. And so now the issue is the
parking.
parking.
So we have I have a letter, can I pass it out to you?
Sure.
Sure.
Can I speak while I'm passing this out?
Yeah, absolutely. The floor is yours.
So our daughter has written a letter to all the invited guests not to park at the field. However, there are people that live in Woodbridge and that are disabled that may just come and park. Maybe 20, 30 people, don't know. So we're here just to say that or ask that, whatever the protocol is. And so we're conforming to the parking request also. There'll be buses. Most people will be staying downtown New Haven, so the buses from there to the field. And also I want to thank you for granting permission for the wedding to be there. We don't know if there'll be another wedding in the future that's in the field. We'd probably like to appear here again in a few years.
So I guess I will open this up for discussion and questions from the selectmen.
So let me just say, if they choose, some people, although they know that they're parked, go downtown and get on a bus, choose to come over because, as I say, they're disabled or Woodbridge, we can't stop them. So they could end up parking on Woodside Drive, where we live, which is around the corner, but then that might be more dangerous for them to cross the street. I don't think they would park on Beecher Road. That's not where parking. And Nancy did some measurements of the area, 16 or 20 cars as you come in the field, and then the
Where the
grass.
parking is.
Where the parking
And then
is.
I measured the area where the gardeners park, where's the natural growth is, where the it's not mowed now. And we calculated it very conservative. 61 cars could park there. But we anticipate very few people parking. But there may be some people. So we wanted to, if that indeed happened, we wanted to just let you know that that may happen. And maybe we could park.
So it's at 4:30, it's for an hour, 4:30 to 5:30. Now, we've been going to the fields longer than most of you have been alive, looks like. And
Not here.
I don't think so.
I actually like the way he said that.
Yeah. Right.
So there'll be very few cars there very few people at that time, 4:30 on Saturday afternoon. It wouldn't be a problem, but we just wanted to,
The folks that would come from Woodbridge,
yeah.
would they be parking in the parking lot?
Probably.
Depending on how many spaces, would be available.
You can
We
never
don't
know
do-
if there's gonna be walkers there, who knows who's gonna be there. Town
Right,
residents.
I don't know. 4:30 on in August, it might be 100 degrees and maybe people, nobody will be there.
Nobody
Who
will be there. You
knows?
never know.
And it's
Pouring
an
rain, I
act-
hope it
it's
isn't for you,
But it is public parking, so.
Correct, right. That part, because it is public parking,
Well, I commend you for your efforts to limit the parking that your guests will be using. And you're right, it's public parking. It's, that's difficult to manage.
right.
But would you, without putting too fine a point on it, would you consider hiring a Woodbridge cop for an hour just to monitor the situation for safety?
Where would the cop be?
I guess, not to tell people they can't park there, but just to ensure, this is coming off the wall for me.
That's a good question as
At
far
the
as
entrance.
liability.
But
as
just
far as
in
the town's
terms of
liability.
protecting, I worry a lot about Beecher Road, I worry about kids on bikes, I worry about school buses, I
But
worry.
where would the,
Probably at the entrance to would be my guess, the
Right.
entrance to the
Right.
parking lot. So it
Entrance to
really is dealing with the access and egress piece of it, not what's going on in the garden itself, which I think is going to be lovely. You're going to have a big rental truck somewhere around, right? For the stuff. Where's he going to
it's
park?
just chairs, and I assume that rental truck will not be, I don't know where the truck would be. You can park in our driveway.
Right, right. You don't want to give a valuable parking space to the parking truck,
Right.
to the rental truck.
Right.
But would you consider that as sort of a way to? I recall last time you were talking about a lot of people at this wedding.
Police
Right.
officer could
But
also.
most 90% of the people will be dropped off with buses.
Correct.
Not even more. We're talking about, there's I know at least 2 people that are disabled.
Right.
That would not
Right.
be able to walk.
Right.
So they would have to be dropped off at the site.
And actually go up the thing and drop them off
They
and
would
come
have to
around.
drive down the driveway to the site. MS, she's
Right.
wheelchair bound.
Right.
Right.
And then there's some elderly people that I don't think could walk.
Right.
Most people will be dropped off at the top of the field and will walk
Yeah.
down.
Right.
The people, like, I have a friend, the Woodbridge people that are my friends are not gonna go downtown and take a bus.
No, but they might park at your house.
They could.
They could,
Right.
but they
I'm doing the math. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm doing the math. You've invited 350 people.
No, three.
No, so far we have 165 people that have
Confirmed.
responded.
Okay. Well, I just remember you said last time
It's
350 people.
300 people, 350 people were invited.
Okay. And we know that 15% don't come.
Right. So far we have 165
Okay.
people.
So let's say
who knows?
So let's say you have
They-
275 people, right?
Let's say we have 250, okay.
And you said 90% of them are going to, so that's 25 extra cars, 10% is 25 extra cars
Right.
that normally would not
Right.
be there. Okay.
Right, that's a good
It's
way.
just a way
That's a
for
good
me to
way
get my
thinking
head
about it.
around it.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay.
So most people,
Plus the buses.
right.
How many buses? You gotta have at least 5 or 6 buses.
I think they said 4, she said
4 school buses.
I think so.
Yeah, 4 school buses.
They're gonna drop at the entrance and then
And people will walk.
go,
Walk down the
no,
path.
I'm talking about where the bus is gonna go after they drop the folks.
They, they're going to be picked up.
They're gonna be with the truck.
The people are going to be picked up. I don't know where buses go. I guess it's their issue, right?
Right.
Well, not,
Are they gonna hang out in
I
Woodbridge
think
and then
the
wait
issue
for
you
the
have is
wedding?
the public parking area at the very beginning is going to fill up pretty quickly.
Okay.
I don't know how many people you got coming from Woodbridge, assume they're all gonna park there. So-
We don't have that many friends.
So then if,
Sure you do.
I can't say.
or
you
even
know.
locals, but if that's gonna get taken up pretty quickly, I would assume. So you're talking, that's a small area.
Because other people are gonna be there.
Then you're gonna have the buses, they're gonna be, the 4
Yeah.
buses, they're not gonna be able to turn around, they have to back out of there. Then you wanna have people go up to the top and drive their cars up to the top, and it's very narrow up there. And
Probably only 2 people will drive all the way up to the top.
so were you talking about parking the rest of, you said you
The
could get
other
under
part we were
40 cars
thinking of was
where?
across from the gardens.
So directly across on the left side is from the first set of gardens that you go
Yeah.
to? Before you go through the stone
Yeah.
wall?
Right. Yep.
So is the ceremony actually on the other side of the stone
Yes.
wall?
Yes.
So you're talking about just the first stone wall, but then on the right side, so you're gonna get maybe 40 cars in there.
Right, but we would
Yeah.
never have 40 cars.
My concern is that there's gonna be there are gonna be
Right.
people walking up in heels and I'm just thinking turned ankles, I'm thinking all kinds of thinking about people not being steady on their feet and then having cars go by
Well, I
them.
think
And it's
you-
very narrow. My concern is really for safety. I'm trying to be a
Right,
pain
that's
in
all
the
we
neck.
care about.
Yeah.
The buses are gonna, it's only an hour ceremony, they're not gonna go anywhere, they're just gonna park on Beecher Road or on Woodside. So my concern initially was people crossing Woodside and then people walking up the narrow path while cars are trying to go by them, and it's gonna be dangerous.
So what do you think about my idea?
So, I forgot what your idea was.
Hire a cop.
Well, you hire a cop, they're still not gonna, the cop still is
You
gonna
know,
help
we
you
had a
walking from the
wedding-
parking lot up the hill to the, so,
We had a wedding before, there was never any
No problem. And
And
also,
how many people were at
you
that
know,
wedding?
there are cars,
Probably
there are
the
people
same-
About the same.
walking in
More
the field
cars,
all
'cause
the
we
time.
never
yeah,
said
no, I
no.
And their
understand.
cars
I'm
go
up there,
by all
I'm
the
up there
time.
quite a bit myself. I mean, I know the area, so, the cross-country team runs up there. I mean, so, I'm very familiar with that area. My concern
Okay.
is safety. That's really
Yeah.
my
Right.
concern.
Right,
And
okay.
and the safety starts with people walking up the road on the gravelly road and extends all the way out onto Beecher and then onto Woodside with the buses and the cars and all that. So if you do have a policeman at Beecher at a minimum, just to keep an eye on it, because guarantee if there's cars backed up into the parking lot, they're just gonna park on the side of the road. I would, just park on the side of the road.
Mhm.
It's a narrow road anyway,
Mm.
so, we want to help you, we want you to have a good time
Well,
but my concern is safety. And
we're here in complying with all of your requests. We are most concerned about safety. People will not be wearing heels, we think it's our.
It's a
our-
casual affair.
You know, but and the buses will come and people will come and they'll be, so we're concerned, I can picture what you're saying. And we're willing to have a policeman. I think that's, if that would help, would be fine. I mean, the wedding's gonna be there.
Right.
Most of the people are not gonna be parking there. It's a quiet time, but there will be cars, there will be buses. We wanna make it safe. And whatever suggestion you have, we're happy to
Yeah.
comply with it.
I have no problem with it at all. If you
Also,
hire a police officer, I
our
think I'll
friends
feel
will be,
great.
Sharon DeCat lives on Beecher Road. She could have a few cars. We can have
Right,
cars in our
right,
driveway.
right. We do that too.
I mean, again,
Right, we work
it's not
it
that
out.
many people.
Right.
People can park on Woodside Drive, they can park up and down, you could.
I would just try to figure out where those buses are going to go for that hour.
What do
We
the
can help-
buses
we-
typically do when there's a meet?
They wait. Oh, when there's a track meet,
Where do they go?
they think they walk over from the high school, actually.
But I've seen buses unload.
They probably go to the high school.
Or they hang out on Beach
Probably
Road
sit at the high school.
sometimes.
Because when there's when there's a meet going
Yeah,
on, there are no
hanging out on
buses
Beach Road.
anywhere in sight.
Well, maybe
Right,
it's
strange.
elementary school kids. Because when they do,
We can have the buses parked.
But I'm just saying, I just would like you to have a plan for the buses, and just have them park on Woodside, then that's fine.
Yeah, we can have them park on Woodside.
Tell all
We
your
live-
neighbors so they're not crabby about it,
No,
It's only an hour.
We live on Woodside.
Yeah,
We're
right,
parked- and
tell
we have
your
a
neighbors
circular
on
drive,
Woodside,
They can
yeah.
park in our driveway.
So,
Look, that's a good idea. We hadn't thought about that. We'll ask the buses to park in our driveway.
Right.
and I think the point is that we're also your neighbors. I mean,
Right.
you're really terrific parents, I have to say. This is wonderful. And we want your day to be very, very special. But I know I would feel better if I thought there was a cop there. Just so there was a little bit of an authority figure, you stay here, you
Okay.
go here. Not near the wedding, just at the entrance to the,
Is there any of you that are policemen?
no, but maybe you could just talk to,
Just call.
call the police department. They're
Yes.
always happy to have you hire a cop for an hour, and they know what it costs. I don't know what it costs.
I'll call him tomorrow just to
Give them a heads up.
give him a heads up that you'll be calling.
Throw them the
That'll
bouquet and let them know this is happening.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you should have a lovely day. That's the
Right.
bottom
We'll
line.
pray for good weather
We'll call
for
them
you.
and say,
Last time it rained.
Anthony Genovese is
Okay.
covering
It's not gonna happen.
covering the cost.
Right.
Okay.
There's a good suggestion.
All right.
You made the suggestion, Joe.
Right. And have the buses, yeah, I think what you
Right.
said was smart also, right.
So does
Okay.
anyone else have any other questions or?
Because the officer might be helpful backing the buses out onto the.
Right,
Yes, no, I think it's good for
exactly.
control.
Exactly.
Is there any food suggestions you have?
They should only live and be well, as they say, right?
And multiply.
Right. Well, that's not our department.
And we're planning for our son who's 30, we'll be back here in 2 years.
There you go. Okay. All right.
Thanks very much.
We'll all wish for the same thing. Thank you.
Thanks for coming back.
Thanks.
Okay, good luck. Okay, now where are we on here? I guess
Well, I
it's
really-
Warren, let's get Warren in. Sorry.
Street line painting trip.
Yes. And we'll do COLA?
Cole.
I guess, okay. And we'll get back on the
track.
beam here.
Okay, so there are two issues that I wanted to discuss while Warren was here. The first involves line painting, and we went out to bid for line painting as we do every year. And we received 2 bids, which we have done for the last couple of years. We've received these 2 bidders, which is safety marking located in Bridgeport and highway safety systems located in Massachusetts. Last year, highway safety system was our low bidder, as they are this year. And I'd like Warren to just explain the difference between the 2 companies.
Well, there's actually a 2-year history with highway safety. Safety marking for the most recent years has been the successful bidder. And their pricing structure that they submitted is pretty consistent to what they've done in the past for all our long line, which is the center line painting in the road, and all the stop bars, the parking stalls, and any of the logos on the road. 2 years ago, we decided to go with the low bid, which was highway safety system. We had difficulties not only in communication with them, but the billing and getting them to do the work and get it completed. It was a battle to get them to finish. We went with them again based on cost, again last year, and again it was a haggle to try to get everything done. The things that were most imperative, if everybody remembers the box down at Litchfield and Lucy, they came in and they painted the long line on the road and weren't doing any of the handwork. They sent me an invoice that was actually higher than what the initial award of the contract was. And then in trying to communicate with them, no return phone calls, no return emails. And I actually sent them a letter, threatening termination, giving them a timeline to come and complete the work. They did not complete the work, and we had to terminate their contract and use safety marking to finish the project. So based on the difficulties in communication with them,
We'd like to not go with the low bidder, essentially.
I
2 years of
recommend going with the high bid safety marking, only because they're responsive. There's nothing that I can find faulty with their work. They contact me as requested in the bid prior to the start of work, where the other company doesn't even let you know when they're coming. I've just had 2 years of difficulty with them. Even after the contract closed, their department was very difficult, and I sent them all the emails and everything else, and they're still bewildered. They don't know what they're doing up there. The work that they did do, I didn't find any fault with it, but completing the work as assigned was the problem.
And budget-wise, this will be, it's in the budget for
Yeah.
Yes.
the fact that it's 17,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a change in the specification this year because our center line is all going to a double stripe on the center line. The yellow stripe that you see usually around town, single line. Federal Highway Administration mandates a double line.
Okay.
So that will be a change.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Warren on this? I will entertain a motion to award the bid of street line paving, bid number 2013-11 to Safety Marking, Inc., of Bridgeport, Connecticut, in the amount of $17,535. May I have a motion?
Second. Oh, I'm sorry, so moved.
Is there a second? Thank you. Is there any other discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
Tony had one
I do
other
have
thing
one
under
other
other
issue.
for you, which I don't know what it is. We'll find out.
We have, if you remember last month, we awarded the vendor in place paving bid to Tilcon, which was a state bidder. And we've used Tilcon last year for vendor in place, and I understand it went very well.
Yes, it did.
And the pricing was excellent. It was a state bid price. So essentially, the state goes out to bid for the service, and then that allows us not to have to go through that process, because essentially they get some volume bids on a lot of work for their state work, and we are allowed to tag on to that. Okay, so subsequent to that, we did receive a few vendors that have called, including a local vendor, who indicated that they would be interested in the work and that they could possibly beat the price. We already awarded the price to Tilcon, so, because you already awarded that price, the question here is, do we continue with our Tilcon bid, or do we go out to bid for that ourselves? That would be a somewhat time-consuming process, and we'd have some minor costs with advertising, and we would bring this back to you in July with a result, which may or may not be better than what we have currently. So I guess that's the question.
We talked about it, and our thought was bring it to the full board.
Because you already
Remember what
awarded
we-
it
right.
previously, so
Bids are-
it
right.
makes sense that it would come back to you as an issue.
Right.
So the bid was already awarded,
Right.
and then we told Tilcon that they had the bid.
Right. But we haven't issued any
We haven't
purchase
signed a
orders.
contract yet. We haven't-
Right. Or anything of that nature. We just verbally let them know that and started that process.
How do you feel about the bid, the vendor, Tilcon?
Any of the Tilcon is a good vendor, and other vendors that we use are also, very competent vendors. The question here is there was a 1-year period where there was no interest. This is one of the things that Tom mentioned, whether we did that, and you never know. And it's a change. We did a change in process from what our typical standard was. We went out by the square foot, and we found out that there was a significant cost savings to use the state contract. And we went with that last year. Again, not to fault anybody's workmanship, but pricing, there was a significant savings. You never know in situations, and they could be competitive, and with the outside interest, we don't know. The one thing I will say with Tilcon is they are an asphalt supplier. It kind of bewilders me how they can be competitive, but if if the board feels as though they want to take the time and advertise and go through that process, then we can do so.
We went through the proper process. We did the bidding, we chose the state contract.
Well, we asked for a bid waiver in our initial request.
To use the state.
The state used the state contract, and the
Right.
board gave, so did we really follow the process? It was awarded to Tilcon, even though no contract has been signed.
Correct.
You have to decide whether that is something we should stay with, because we've done everything we were supposed to do. It was proper.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with
And
that.
we
The
chose-
procedure, the question
The
is
procedure was
just,
proper, and it's perfectly within your legal ability to say we have to go with a procedure we've already followed and not redo this again.
How difficult is it to go out again to bid?
We would have to create the bid document
It's a
and
whole
then advertise.
It's a whole
It's a
new-
process
Right.
that we
We
do.
never had an in-place contract of our own, so
Uh-huh.
we'd have to write that specification.
You write the
You know,
specification.
Before we even get into any of that, my sense is that if the town has made a commitment,
Right.
the town has a commitment.
I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
No, I know, but,
Right.
but whatever, these are hypothetical savings
Mhm.
that would require hoop jumping, and we create ill will as a byproduct. I don't see the upside.
And we followed the procedure the first time around.
And
Right?
keep in mind, even though we have
Is that
not
right?
signed, yes,
Yeah.
even though we have not actually signed a contract, we have told Tilcom they were the successful bidder. And there may be some legal ramifications to that, and now we'll go back and redo it again. I haven't researched it, so I don't really know, but we've done the process. They complied with the process, they bid, they were awarded the bid, and they may have some cause to say that it was not proper to go out again.
Right, so,
Steady as she goes.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
I'm glad we got opinions.
Yep.
Tony and I felt we needed to bring it to you. Just to let you know. Okay,
Okay,
thank you. Okay,
Thanks,
now
Warren.
we're, number 11 maybe?
Thank you, Warren.
Thank you, Warren, for staying. Number 11 is next, I think. Wait a minute, where are we?
11, yep.
Okay, oh my gosh, okay. I gotta get back in my packet now. Sorry, guys. All right, do you want to give a history
Sure.
or about this?
Yep.
And then I have the way to go forward once we have the history on this. Thank you, Tony.
So the town currently has two unions, which is the police IBPO union and the AFSCME union. And those contracts extend through July of 2015. Historically in Woodbridge, the town has afforded the same annual cost of living adjustment, which is what the COLA is, to non-union employees as we do in the union contract to union employees. So because the union contract is essentially a 5-year term, the non-union employees are an annual motion by the Board of Selectmen. We do this every year, actually, around this time. And so that's what this motion is for. Otherwise, there would be no increase for any of the non-union employees,
Oh, right.
because there would be no authority or no authorization to give any increase to anybody, because the Board of Selectmen is the body that awards increases. So that's essentially the reason for the motion.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve a cost of living salary adjustment of 2% for non-union employees effective July 1, 2013. This adjustment is in accordance with the compensation package, as you just explained, for union employees as set forth in the agreement between the town of Woodbridge and both labor unions, AFSCME and IBPO. So, would someone like
It's
to-
what we have in the budget.
Right, okay, good.
That was my question. So moved.
Thank you. Okay, any questions?
What would the action be next year to,
Same thing. I'm not sure the exact increase for next year. It might be 2%. I'm not sure if it's 2% or not. But whatever the increase is in the contract for next year would be the same motion. This is only good.
It's an
annual.
Annually, yeah.
and you've been doing this, matching the union thing for how many
Since I've been
years?
here.
When I was a registrar, we got it. It was 25 cents, but it was something. Okay. So any other questions? Motion is seconded. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay, thank you
Jerry, I
very
will
much.
once again stand aside.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alrighty now, are we down to 14? Town council's report?
Yes, and the first item under my report is the proposed settlement of a tax appeal that we have pending in court, and Betsy Quist was supposed to be here, but
She's
again,
here.
she's here.
Yes,
Oh,
she's
well,
here.
let's get her, okay.
She's here. Do you
Oh,
want
she's
executive
here.
session on that, or?
We should,
Oh
yes.
dear. And everyone can stay. You decide.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, you can say, sure, absolutely. You guys have to.
In
for a dime, in for a dollar.
You want to do everything else first?
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, why don't we do everything else first?
Okay.
I like that idea.
That's a good
thinking.
idea.
I love that idea.
There you go.
Except for Betsy.
Okay. Except for poor Betsy, she's gotta hang. She's gonna be mad.
But we don't have that much.
All right, yeah, we'll fly through this, okay. So skipping number 15, resignations in your packet. Our resignations from, let's see, make sure I get the names right.
Kathy Settle.
Right, Catherine Suttle from the Library Commission. At the time of her appointment in 2011, she agreed to fill the position for 2 years. As there was some difficulty filling out the board, my other commitments required that I follow through on that early resignation. And she thanks us for the privilege of serving. So we need a motion to accept her resignation.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So we'll accept her resignation and she gets a letter, right, Jerry, saying thank you? Okay. Let's do that. Oh. And also a resignation from Rabbi Joel Levinson. He's leaving B'nai Jacob effective June 30th. He'll be going to a new congregation out of the area, so he needs to step down from the Board of Ethics. So I will entertain a motion to accept his resignation.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and he'll also get a letter. Okay. That covers that. Town clerk's report. In your packet you have a copy of the town clerk's report, and I would entertain a motion to acknowledge receipt of the town clerk's report.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Minutes. We have in your packet the March 6, 2013 minutes, and I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any changes, corrections?
Yes, there's one.
Oops. You have corrections on your own end.
Under liaison report.
Oh, I just found that, yes. You became
I
Mrs.
brought
Stein.
Ms. Stein back to
Sand-
the board.
Susan, you were Ms. Stein. I just saw that, yep. Okay, with that change, did we do a motion already?
So
Yes,
moved.
we did.
Did.
We did, all right, okay. Any other discussion, changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
One
And
correction, Madam First Select.
With a correction. Oh, you have a correction too?
Yes, I do, the correct spelling of Mr. Dubose, John Dubose of Southern Connecticut Gas. It's just D, capital D, then low caps, O-B-O-S.
Oh,
Not a
that's
capital
not
B.
a capital B. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody accept that change as well? Okay, thank you. Okay, I have the First Selectmen's report. And before I forget, I have to tell you all that Tony just was elected president of the, he's not even here. Maybe I'll wait till he comes back. Okay? Sorry, it's just exciting. On May 13th, can't talk tonight. Attended the Human Services Commission meeting. Mary Ellen updated the commission on several upcoming events. The Services Department has been very busy. They had a program on suicide prevention for parents, an anti-bullying program for teens. And Mary Ellen mentioned also that the Greater New Haven Transit District is coming back at some of the regional rides for seniors and new schedules being worked on. I could not make the June 3rd meeting. I had a conflict, but she reported that evening that the walk, which this year was in memory of Ed, the American Heart Association walk, which was held in West Haven, raised more than $1,600, which after last year's amount of about $1,100, that's far surpassed. And I guess we went free, and I guess it was wonderful. I donated. I can't walk yet, but it was lovely. So that's very, very good news. On May 20th, I went to the Fire Commission meeting. They reviewed the budget. They're coming down to the wire on that. It's going to be close, but they'll be okay. There were 67 applicants for the administrative assistant position, and we'll report more on that next month. Newfield came out and looked at the apparatus bay floor. There are no new bubbles, and we're hoping to have that item resolved very soon. Just want to remind you all, closing ceremonies for the Woodbridge, no, it's called the Bethwood Baseball League now, are this coming Saturday, and the WVFA will be serving food for the attendees. As you know, it was canceled because it was Ed's funeral on opening day ceremonies. I believe it's at 10?
Correct.
10 o'clock on the green. Fire Marshal's report he's reporting that he started to find some more serious violations as he gets into more buildings, but he's doing a great job, all well and good. And the next meeting is Monday, June 17th, and I will be attending that. I also attended an Eagle Scout Court of Honor that I've never attended before, and it was absolutely wonderful. 3 young men received their Eagle Scout badges, and they received proclamations from me on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, so just to let you know, we were represented. On May 27th, I had the honor of speaking at the annual WVFA Memorial Service at the fire station. And just again, the volunteer hours from past deceased members represent 1,136 hours of service to our town, which is very impressive.
That's
Also,
yours.
later in the day, Ellen and I both went to the WFB Memorial Day service on the town green, and we both spoke. It was a lovely service and a lovely day. Pretty well attended. We were concerned about, having people there. And then on June 5th, I went to the informational meeting. We held an informational meeting with residents who will be impacted by sidewalk installation from Lucy Street up onto Litchfield Turnpike to Landon Street. There were design engineers from Malone and McBroom. Tony was there to help me, and we had a few residents came, and Warren Connors also came and answered residents' questions. And let's see, I wanted to update you on the fill from the Public Works facility, because that was, guys gave me the authority to decide where it was going to go, and after there was some discussion as to whether or not they wanted it all. First they were going to take it away, and they wanted it all, then they decided they didn't want it all. So there was a big hole. If you get a chance, go in the Selectmen's boardroom and take a look. There's a lot of dirt that has been removed. And after discussion with Mr. Gilbertson and Mr. Sorensen, a few loads went to 60 Woodfield in that space that we talked about last month, and the rest of it is going up to Acorn Hill. And the work is really proceeding quickly. It looks great. You got to go see the work that's been done, the whole, right? Just an update on the Merritt Avenue Bridge. The latest update is that the state will be going out to bid very soon, and hopefully construction will begin at the end of the summer or early fall.
It's I think June 16th, I think 16th or 17th.
Oh,
It's
good.
sometime next week.
Good. And there's just one other item that was passed to me. The Teen Center on Sunday, June 30th, the Amity Teen Center is going to be honoring the late First Selectman Ed Sheehy. They're going to dedicate the cafe down there. The center cafe area is going to be named Ed's Cafe. So if you get a chance to attend, it's Sunday, June 30th at 3 o'clock at 10 Selden Street in Woodbridge. And you got up and left, so I started to do this, but now I'm going to do it. Tony has been elected president of the Connecticut Government Finance Officers Association.
Yeah, good for you.
The
Get a
finance
certificate for
directors
your
of
wall?
all towns in
I
Connecticut.
will, yes, actually.
Yeah.
Each president gets a plaque when they
You
finish.
gotta get a big wall, a new wall in Matterhorn. This is all towns in Connecticut. It's pretty impressive. There we have this, I know, music and everything. Okay.
Perfect.
So,
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
And I think that's all for me, administrative officers report.
Just one quick thing, they're going to be paving the center road in front of the firehouse, and we're endeavoring to get the gas line, which is currently going by it, to be extended to the firehouse. Whether it's going to get it hooked up or not remains to be seen, but that's the next move.
You can get it in before they pave it, I hope.
Yes,
That's
that's
the
the
idea.
thought. Good thinking, Kathy, yes.
Well, you know.
Thank you.
And that's it, Madam First
Okay,
Select.
thank you very much. Liaison reports, I'll start with Greg.
The land use agencies have been kind of quiet, and I'm coasting to the end of my term. So TPZ had a meeting on Monday. It was actually kind of non-eventful. One thing I will tell you is I'm the liaison on the Beecher Building Committee. So we have a meeting on Friday, and so added to our charge was the security plan. So we'll have an opportunity to, I think the security plan may be available on Friday, so we're looking to finish up the work on that.
Okay,
That's it.
thank you.
Amity Board met on Monday. I wasn't able to make it, but they did meet on May 21st for the turf field. They had public comment, or I guess a special meeting, and then they had a public hearing, and then they had a special meeting. And during the public meeting, they discussed the turf field, and then they went into their regular meeting or special meeting, and they authorized $945,000 bonds and notes for to be put forward in a referendum to be held September 24th. And there's a lot of discussion around about it, but the board, I believe, voted unanimously to put it to a referendum and have the 3 towns vote on whether they wanted to put in a artificial surface at the football field, but it will be not be called the football field, it will be called the athletic field. Part of the discussion was that it would be used for all of the teams, male and female, and would allow broader use of the fields. So the different teams would be able to use them, they'd be able to use them longer into the season, and allow some of the teams that don't typically get to have night games play at night, and would just allow the field to be used further throughout the year.
And
That September 24th is a referendum.
the bonds to be sold to cover that $1 million would be paid back over 20 years. You got
Correct, I believe it was 20 years.
And that would be part of the operating budget, so that additional debt service would likely cut into academic programs. Is that part of the discussion?
Don't remember that as part of the discussion.
But certainly their debt service would impact their budget.
That was not part of the discussion that I called.
But I was asking.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Lawrence?
I wasn't with the Woodbridge Board of Education the last time, but I went to the Recreation Commission meeting, and it went smoothly. Most of the discussion was again about field requests, and there was no discussion about a vestibule on that. So anyway, so the meeting went pretty quickly, and there were
How that's possible.
there were no items of note.
Okay.
And the Board of Ed meets next Monday.
Right, okay, thank you very much. Susan?
I attended the Library Commission meeting this past week, as Lawrence would say, steady as she goes.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing that probably is important for all of us is that the Friends of the Library is changing the way that they do business. They're no longer going to operate on a committee basis, rather they're going to operate on the basis of committee of the whole and sort of at-large task kinds of responsibilities. So people who are involved in that, it will change. And the controversial carpet that
Right.
they were in a kerfuffle about with the manufacturer, because frankly it had been installed correctly but the pattern didn't match. Anyway, kudos to the library,
Definitely
probably
did a nice
Tony.
job, yeah.
They're getting the whole thing replaced.
Todd
So
did most of the legwork.
Todd
on
did a
that.
fabulous
Great
job at that.
Yep.
Absolutely. He called them on the carpet.
He did.
And he said,
Literally.
fix it. I also attended the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission meeting, and you know what? Events happen so fast. It's all like past history. I can tell you this, we sat there, Tony was there, it was pouring rain outside, which was extremely aggravating.
No golfers.
No golfers, it's pouring rain, but what I can tell you, yeah, they are marketing like crazy. They're out there doing everything they need to do. The report on the golf course itself is that it is the improvement is 100-fold. I'm not a golfer, I don't know how to measure that, but
They've been very impressed.
it's
We just need weather.
really doing well.
We just
Okay.
need weather to.
And they're out there marketing, you know.
I think that's it. I don't know if this is going to be your last meeting or not, but I just wanted to say thank you. It's been a pleasure serving with you. No, thank you.
Gotta do it again, you gotta do it again.
All right.
That's right.
And you never know. So
we'll
I just
clap
wanted
again.
to say thank you. Thank you very
appreciate it.
much. And welcome. See you. Okay, and I guess that's it, other than just,
We gotta
there's
go
no
to
other
an
business, so
executive
now we have to go
We
to
just have to
executive.
go
Before we
back.
go in executive, there's one item we don't need an executive session, and that's the Woodbridge Child Center lease.
Okay.
You have that. And as most of you probably know, we leased the space in the center to the
Right.
Child Center, which has been a very, very successful operation for the past, I guess, 5 years.
5 years.
Oh, more than that.
10 years, how many? 20?
Wait a minute, excuse me.
15 years.
My oldest son is 25 years old.
40 years.
I was pregnant with him. I was pregnant with him when I was my husband and I were one of the families that helped co-found it, and I was their first lawyer. So
Isn't
I
that-
probably negotiated the first
So
lease.
we're still using your same lease. How is
Woohoo!
that?
How good am I?
I gave you all, their lease is up June 30th, and we talked to their lawyer at great length. Tony was involved, and I gave you a memorandum of what the proposed lease is going to be, and it's going to be effective July 1st. And we lease the Child Center about 5,700 square feet. And it's in room 7, 8, 9, 10. The annual rental, you can see I set forth on item number 3.
Basically 2%.
2% increases
Right.
every year, and the first year it's $52,960, or you can see what it is. And they have an option to renew for 2 additional years. They requested a 3-year term this year. In the past, we've had 5 one-year terms that had to be renewed every year. This time they said, let's make a firm 3 years and give us 2-year options, and Tony and Beth agreed, and this is the proposal for you to approve. They have to carry insurance, and that's basically the highlights of the lease. I have a copy of the actual lease, but most of it is boilerplate except for what I've just read off to you. Anyone is willing to, is welcome to take a look at it if you want. But I think we need a motion to authorize the first selectman on July 1st, who will be Ellen, to enter into the lease with the Child Center, Woodbridge Child Center.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions?
Just to say that from all appearances, they've been a terrific tenant.
Yeah. Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Abstain. They're a client.
All right. So, that's great. All right.
So
That's it.
now we just need a quick executive session to talk about this tax appeal. See if we can get Betsy.
Do we need a motion to go into an executive session? So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay.
All right, we're now in executive session.
All in favor, say aye.